Hello and good morning, our beautiful mystery seekers. Welcome back to our podcast. Before we get things rolling, let's start with some little introduction. I'm Maddie,
And I'm Crystal.
and welcome back to Mystery Sisters. How are you doing today, my sister?
I'm adulting.
Adulting? What's that like?
I'm not really sure. I'm just winging it.
Winging it? I just feel like I'm failing altogether.
Well, isn't that the point of winging it? Like, nobody actually knows what they're doing. And if anybody out there actually does, please send me your tips.
Oh my God, we really need some. I don't know how anyone does it.
Yeah, neither do I.
I just feel like all those moms out there, every time I see their posts, I'm just like, how? How are you doing it?
Teach me your ways.
Teach me your ways, please. They're just living their life.
I would say ask our mom, but I'm not even sure she knows what she's doing sometimes. I don't think anybody does.
Mom definitely winging it. But she's living her best life. Like, I swear, she goes out, has fun with her friends once a week, or I think once a month. I can't remember now.
Well, speaking of living our best life, you know who else is living their best life?
Who?
Today's topic, Gypsy Rose.
No. Is that who we're talking about today?
That is. And as she loves to tell everybody, she's just living her best life.
She definitely is. She has been all over social media lately. You guys know her, and I bet you guys have read about her situation that happened or did happen. And if you guys don't know, she unalived her mother with her used to be boyfriend at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about today.
And if you guys don't know her story, um like all of it, that's what we're here for. Because we did some research.
I feel like my head is going to explode.
I feel like we definitely have a lot to talk about today, especially because I feel like certain people will probably have our heads because of all the people I read comments on TikTok and social media and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, she is definitely a hot topic right now. So we're going to cover some of that.
How about we break it down from the beginning, Crystal?
All right. So her mother was Claudine, known as Dee Dee. She was born on May 3rd, 1967, in Louisiana. Now, here's where things get a little interesting. Apparently, according to her siblings growing up, she was also kind of sheltered from the outside world. Her mother kind of kept her locked away because she had a heart murmur. I don't think a lot of people actually knows that.
I actually did not know that. I did know that she was a beauty pageant queen. Am I correct?
Yeah, she was. She did end up doing that a little bit later in life. Kind of way, I guess when she started breaking away from her mom a bit. She
Uh,
ended up meeting Rob Blanchard shortly after she kind of got her freedom.
and then at what age did she meet Rob again?
She was 24 and he was only 17.
I mean, damn. But that was back in the day. I mean, I don't think anyone was really that big on age difference, right?
Apparently not in Louisiana.
Mhm. Never been on
because
that side of the state, so I don't know.
because they ended up getting married in December of 1990, 3 months after she got pregnant with Gypsy Rose, which she was actually named because Dee Dee was in love with the name Gypsy, and Rob is obsessed with Guns N' Roses.
Um, Definitely heard a lot about this case. Well, actually, I didn't heard a lot about this case. I heard about it when Crystal was telling me about it because I know that there's a lot of different versions out there, especially with the act. I know a lot of people are defending off of that, and I definitely watched. that episode or that season that show. Oh my God, me stuttering with my words today. I'm so sorry, people.
Yeah, the act is a it gives a lot of information, just a lot of also I guess not a lot, but there's definitely some inaccuracies because nobody on the family side participated with that. So, I mean, but it still kind of shows, that whole thing did happen. They did lose their house in Hurricane Katrina, and it did get them to have Habitat of Humanity move them to Missouri. Because by that point, when Gypsy was born, she was born of July of 1990. Her parents had split up because he realized on his 18th birthday that he did not love Dee Dee and he married her for the wrong reasons. So they got a divorce. As a newborn, Gypsy, well, Dee Dee had Gypsy have surgery because she thought that she had sleep apnea, so she had her uh
Her glands removed, right?
yeah, the glands removed. And then she kept still complaining to doctors about every little thing.
Yeah,
And
like she had like leukemia, asthma.
that
Um,
increased as she got older, yeah. Because after she fell off her grandfather's bike when she was about 7 or 8, is when her mother had her start using a walker, and then she eventually put her in a wheelchair. And then that's when more and more stuff kept going wrong. And anytime a doctor got suspicious, she did change doctors. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but doctors do keep a detailed records of like how you and your child are together, at all those appointments. And she would get those records and it would make her change providers until she would get doctors to work on her.
and then later on, do you know what year she got of she had to get surgery for a feeding tube?
There's it doesn't say how old she was when the feeding tube exactly got put in.
Wait, why did she get it done? I can't remember now.
As her mom just said, she had issues eating.
Um, her oh my God. I'm
Yeah.
stumbling
So
today.
Dee Dee is also suspected of trying to unalive her stepmother with poison. She's also suspected of unaliving her actual mother, Emma, uh, by refusing to give her food. So, I mean, her mom just kind of seemed to be on a power trip, but that's also because she was grown up, not being able to have freedom. And she kind of put that onto Gypsy because, as we all know, nothing was actually wrong with her.
Yeah, it was all revealed after they found her mom in her home. They found Gypsy with her used to be boyfriend. His name is Nick, and it was in his home state. What was his home state?
Wisconsin.
Really?
Yes, really.
Oh my God. That just seems so, oh my God. Okay. Well, I see, as you can tell, I just don't know all of the story. I do know certain things, and I'm not gonna lie, me and Crystal have argued just a little bit before we even started the show. So,
Yeah. So, Gypsy is the one who planned all of this, and the crime took place in 2015. And here's where it gets really interesting for me is because I was on Facebook, during that time and a few years before then. I used to see posts about, this sick kid all the time. And she wasn't even a kid, which is she never knew how old she was. When she
Uh,
got arrested, she couldn't even tell the cops how old she was.
wasn't it like she thought, or didn't she find her birth certificate?
She found, no, it wasn't her birth certificate. She found a medical card that said she was born in 93, but as I already stated before, she was born in July of 91. She's only a year younger than me.
Yeah, and what's weird is that when she found it, she ran away with the guy that she was talking to um
A
on
guy that
social
she met at,
media.
no, the first time she met a guy at Comic-Con.
Comic-Con, that's what it was. Hey, see, I'm getting close. I'm, you know what? It comes in waves, okay, guys? It comes in waves.
Yeah,
And
she
then,
did try running away once.
which is weird because she couldn't walk.
She walked then.
Yeah,
She's
but
all,
her mom was like, what, telling people that she couldn't. That's why she was in the wheelchair.
yeah. She used to tell, according to Gypsy, her mother would tell her that if she walked, she would get sicker. And so she, you know, did what her mom told her to do. But she always knew, she's admitted even recently that she always knew she could walk. She was just scared of what her mother would do. And she knew that she could eat, and yet she still kept letting her mother and the doctors put in a new feeding tube every time it needed to be changed.
Which is so weird because in my head, when if you ran away at that time, wouldn't you tell them, like the guy that she met at Comic-Con? Wouldn't she tell them? And then like
Well,
they could both went to authorities? Because her mom didn't what find her till like 4 hours later, right?
yeah, it took her mom about 4 hours.
That's why
But
this story is so interesting to me, is because like yes, I at first I felt sorry, but then Crystal was coming out with interesting topics that are just unraveling in my head, because I'm like, why didn't she tell authorities?
yeah, that's what I still don't understand. And in all the interviews that she's doing recently, she still doesn't really have an answer for that, except for the fact that she says that, she was scared of what would happen when she got home. But why not just go? Like, obviously, that's not a home to you anymore if it feels like a prison. I mean,
Right.
she did say the first time she was in prison that that was the first time she ever felt free. And so I did feel for her, but there's so much more information that has really yet to be talked about, except for until recently, because I did find some stuff today and even just yesterday that I had never heard before.
Ooh, do tell.
So th when she met Nick Godejohn, she sat there and was talking to him for over 2.5 years. She met him on that Christian Mingle dating site. And it took her multiple times asking him to, do this for her. And he did not say yes originally. In his trial, all their text messages were shown, and he did not just jump and say, "Oh, yes, like my other personality will do this." Everybody just assumes, "Oh, he's got multiple personalities, he's got DID," but that's not actually what happened. He did not say yes originally. Yes, he is into BDSM and all of that rough stuff, but I mean, she was not against it. The picture showed it, and the text messages have showed it, because then she had her other personality, Ruby, and then that's what made him go, okay, well, I have a personality that will do this for you,
Which
which
is
I don't
was
think a lot of people understand.
they don't. They really don't. Because when DID was first introduced, it was mostly called multiple personality disorder, but it's actually dissociative identity disorder. And it's a lot of misconception, especially when it's talked about. Because, like, obviously, not a lot of people are going to understand that pe someone has like like, I don't want to say alter ego. What is it? Like,
It's just a completely different personality. It's a different identity living in one vessel, which is, one body. I'm not saying that he didn't have it because Nick had a lot of mental disorders. He had Asperger's, he was autistic, his IQ was extremely low, and she took advantage of that.
she knew what she was doing.
I think that she learned from her grandmother and from her mother how to be manipulative. That is my take on everything because she's married now and she's out, but in all of her interviews, she's holding on to her husband's arm and his hand the same way that her mother did with her. Like I said, I watched them on Facebook and everything, even before the crime took place. I remember seeing and hearing about this poor sick kid. And I've gone back and rewatched those, and she holds him the same way. And he stops talking the second that she grips onto him, the same way that her mother did with her.
Really?
Yeah, there's also even a video out there of her getting caught, her mic catching hers, telling him to shut up. And he immediately stops talking because he was talking about her grade level, her education, because she never finished school after second grade. There's even some arguments saying that she never even finished school past kindergarten. She got her GED in prison. Her mom just took her out of school and homeschooled her, but she never actually did because she kept telling everybody that she only had the mental capacity of a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I remember them saying that in the act. Well, showing that in the act. There's a lot of things that I know that are the act version, and remember them like basically saying of their or Gypsy's point of view. Am
Yeah,
I
I'm not,
correct?
no, yeah, you're right. A lot of it had some accuracies because they did have, you know, social services did come and check out their home because doctors were catching on to, the mom. All of that did happen. And I'm
Does
not
that mean that
saying,
she was drugging her?
well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, she was giving her unnecessary medications. She was giving her all like her epilepsy medication. She obviously didn't need. She doesn't have epilepsy. Uh she was giving her like all these unnecessary medications, and they now showed that in the house the medications were labeled like you were labeling it for a child, like it said like shaky baby, so her epilepsy medication was called shaky baby. The woman was 23 years old. She wasn't a baby.
Well, yes. Yes, obviously, because her age was always changing, apparently.
it,
Um,
it just bothers me because I understand that she was abused, but she played all of those people too in a way because she knew that she could walk. She knew that she could eat. She's now saying recently, though, that she did believe that she had leukemia or cancer, but why wasn't she ever getting radiation for it then?
yeah, that doesn't make sense.
She was never getting any treatment for it. And she had access to the internet, obviously, because she had her secret Facebook account, which she named after her grandmother. She had that secret Emma Rose Facebook account. and she met Nick on there. Like she knew how to use the internet, so it kind of just baffles me that she didn't think to look up, anything that was wrong with her.
She's like, do I really have this? I should probably search this. Nah, I shouldn't. You know what? My mom's right. Oh my God. That's
I'm sorry, but I love our mom, but I mean, I Google everything, okay? Like, no joke. Even every time a doctor gives me a new medication, I immediately like, I'm gonna look this up. Like, I Google everything.
Oh my God. Yeah. I do agree with you. I agree that the abuse, I mean, I agree that the abuse happened at obviously a young age because no one acts out this way and then not know what they're doing, I guess, because like even then I feel like she knew exactly what she was planning to get herself free.
Yeah, she found the perfect patsy to help her get there. That's the part that bothers me.
Hmm.
She knew, like, he said no, but he was so dedicated to her and he played into her fantasies because she said that he's the one who was all into that stuff, but she's the one who would act it out. She was the one who was sending him all these messages. Like, there is the one message where, as Ruby, she even said, "Hello, sir, my name's Ruby," and talked about how she is so into like violent things and all that. And he's like, yeah, okay, I will do anything. He would do anything for her. Even now, he knows that she's remarried. And he has still said in his most recent interview that he still believes that she's his soulmate and how much he loves her. He did it all for her.
He believes it was a fairy tale,
He
exactly how
thought
she
he
wanted it.
he thought he was her Prince Charming, and that's the part that bothers me the most. Like you can read about this story all you want, but like at the end of the day, they both did what was wrong. I'm not saying that what he did wasn't wrong. It obviously was wrong, but he did it for a reason when she had multiple chances to get out. Like she befriended her neighbor. Why didn't she told her neighbor secrets? Why didn't she tell her, "Oh, hey, by the way, I can walk."
Yeah, that baffles me most because she even said that she knew she could walk.
I just
Cause,
don't get it.
well, now I'm questioning at what age she knew to walk because then obviously if she was not an adult and she still had to be living under her mother, that confuses me because even then would the state still try to take her away or do you think Dee Dee would have had a plan if that were ever to come?
If the state would have taken her away,
Or if Gypsy just flat out said, my mom's lying.
I mean, she probably would have just told everybody, "Oh, she just is going through all these mental things. She is only has the mental capacity of a child," which at the time, Gypsy didn't have education. So that's kind of why she used to, her vocabulary has increased a lot because, like I said, she did get her GED in prison, but her first interviews, she does come off a little uneducated. She never passed at least second grade. So obviously she didn't know how to talk. She didn't really know how to do much.
You want to know my theory?
What's that?
I think she's just fame hungry. Exactly of how she planned it out and how she knew to get money when if she got caught, she knew how to get it out and she knew how to make money after it. Because even then, I know that all over social media, she's talking about how she just wants to live her life, be married, have a family, all this stuff. And I see her going on podcasts, going on Good Morning America, just doing all these talk shows. But if you actually want to live in peace after just getting out of prison, wouldn't you just lay low for a little bit?
Yeah, the whole reason, so right after she got out, she got actually kicked out of the state of Missouri, where all her friends and family were. And it's because of all the high publicity, because of the fact that, hey, she still committed a really bad crime. They didn't really want her there. It's too high profiled, which is why we're not really diving in too deep and on all the details, because honestly, everybody knows who she is. They know what she did. This is mostly just talking about our feelings on it. And I just don't think it is fair that she just gets to walk out, live her life, but poor Nick is in prison forever. I do not think it's fair.
So are you saying that they both should be out or they should both stay?
Honestly, with Nick's mental health, he probably should have went to a psychiatric hospital, is where I think he belonged. I do not think he deserved what he got. Yeah, because here's the thing. They're saying his story has never changed. Dee Dee was attacked 17 times, but his story has claimed that he only did four. And he never
17?
17. She had 17 wounds,
Oh my God.
but his story has never changed. Now, if you want to go back, go through on YouTube or TikTok or Facebook, like go everywhere, and you will clearly see her story has changed multiple times from 2015 to 2024. It has changed multiple times. First, she said Nick told her to go to the bathroom. Then she said that she just went to the bathroom. Another story, she was, still getting their stuff together, but then her mom screaming for her got her, like scared her. Like she's changed her story, and it bothers me because his story has never changed. He admits what he did was wrong. He admits what he did, but he did not change how many times he attacked her. Now, he was asked at the police station, where was Gypsy Rose during this time? He must have missed that part because he only explained where Dee Dee was, but he still says he only did four. Now, who did the other ones? If those were the only three people in the house,
That
there's
that
now
seems like an act of passion right there.
there's now a theory. Yeah, and Nick didn't know Dee Dee. He wouldn't have that kind of rage in him to do that. I'm not saying that Gypsy wasn't uh, you know, abused. I'm not saying that she probably didn't think there was another way out, but how many cases out there do you hear that, they thought they had no other choice and they're locked up forever, but we're going to feel sorry for this one person and just let her go free? And
Uh,
then
none.
especially when she changes her story on countless times. Because when she got caught in Wisconsin, she never once asked what she was being questioned for. She never asked if her mom was okay.
Yeah, didn't she just uh did a plead deal?
A plea deal. Yeah, she took the plea deal for second degree, and that's why she only got 10 years and then she got out early.
See, and now even though that Nick obviously had all these mental disorders, how come they didn't have a doctor come out and see if he was redeemed fit? Because
Because
don't
he
most cases, like if to be in a mental hospital after a murder, like investigation, like I don't know. Now it's all confusing to me because I know
I
that
think
there's some.
the problem is that he wasn't pleading insanity. He has always said he did it. He's never, denied it. Where Gypsy likes to downplay her role. She does. She's like, "Oh, I did my time for my portion." Like, what do you mean your portion? You bought the knife, you bought the gloves, you bought his bus ticket, you asked him numerous times. Like, I'm really surprised that she didn't pull the whole, well, it wasn't me, it was Ruby.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I mean, she had let's see, there's one named Candy that was like all sweet and innocent. She had Ruby, who was dark
Wait,
and dangerous.
Candy. Hold
Yeah,
on, hold on. What?
yeah, she had one named Candy. That's when she wore her rainbow wig.
I did not know about this Candy. Did they
They
show
were,
that in the act?
yes, they did. They were very into role playing, her and Nick. It's what they did. They were in a relationship for 2.5 years online. And so, they got creative. She kept saying that it was all him, but yet again, you have access to the internet. Google that stuff. But no, she's just like, oh, I like this and was all into it. The first time that they met, it was her idea to lose her virginity in the movie theater bathroom. Like, everything was always planned by her. She's the one who bought his ticket. She bought their tickets to back to Wisconsin. She paid for the hotel. And in the hotel, she was recording him eat. He's just laying there eating brownies. And she's like, oh, look at my sexy boyfriend eating a brownie. And soon he's going to be eating me. And she's like making all these inappropriate jokes. And they literally just unalived her mother. And yet she's trying to say that he is the one who did it. He forced her. He did this, he did that, but nowhere is there proof of that. She's the one who paid for everything.
Yeah, because I remember in the act that she was he was getting stressed out and he was like, I don't know what to do and all this stuff. And then she was like get yelling at him. I think I if I remember correctly, like she was yelling at him and was like she's like was mad that she had to think of everything.
Yeah, because he didn't do anything with the knife. And then she's like, "Ugh, well, we have to mail it," which she bought the stuff for that too. And then they mailed it to his house. Like she literally planned everything from beginning to end. And everybody is like talking about how strong she is. Again, I'm not disputing the fact that she wasn't, abused. She was. However, I still think that she is a manipulator.
I think that she has no remorse.
She really doesn't, because the last interview I watched with her on 2020, she kind of just glosses over the topic of her mom. She's like, "Oh yeah, I think about her from time to time." And she's like, "But I'm just living my life and I'm being free. Like, I had to do what I had to do." Like, seriously? Seriously.
Didn't you tell me that there was this one interview that she did that she you swears that she was trying to cry? It was like in that show 2020.
Yeah, you kind of can see her like blinking her eyes, trying to cry on cue, and no tears were coming out. And again, like in prison, she did cry a few times, but again, her story has changed so many times that I just don't see any truth behind it anymore.
Hmm.
It just seems like she didn't even rehearse it enough to be able to lie.
And that's how I'm wondering, well, how is she still out?
I'm honestly afraid for when she has kids because if you think about it, Her grandmother did it to her mother. Her mother did it to her. It's all she knows. Like, what is she gonna do now?
I know that I read because when they were talking about her being released, that I read they teach that in prison. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they like actually like obviously she got her GED, whatnot, right? But I don't know if they actually teach her because I at first defending her. Okay, I was defending her. I was like, I even questioned, I was like, how is she gonna live out in the real world? And then people were talking about that they teach you that.
I still don't think that she's gonna be a good mother, in my opinion, though, because again, her grandmother did it to her mother. Her mother did it to her. She's gonna shelter the F out of her kid. I mean, what do you think, Maddie? What do you think drove her to do it in the first place?
Honestly, uh, I mean, the way she's acting now, fame. I think she's fame hungry.
Yeah, but that's not what happened, back then, because when she got questioned, she tried to get away with it.
See, and now the more or the real question, like the real question is, if she had all these opportunities to tell authorities, to tell her best friend, to tell anyone who she had in contact with when she was away from her mother, then the only reason for her to snap is that she couldn't take the abuse. But that's still no reason to act it the way that she did because she knew what she was doing. She manipulated him and then she knew how to get away with it. She
Yeah, I
played
do.
she played
She
everyone.
she played the victim card hardcore. I do believe that. She definitely was like, oh, she did all these horrible things to me. Obviously, you can see I'm not sick. So here's what happened.
And
You know,
again, a lot of you guys may hate us for how we see it, but also in the yes, we agree. In the beginning, she was very much abused because there were showings of pictures that showed that she was, chained to the bed and like all this medical issues that her mom put on her every single time and then she just ended up believing it until she knew that she wasn't she was in the beginning. So this is obviously our opinion. But in my opinion now, she's fame hungry. I think that she is very much fame hungry because of how she's acting as soon as she got out of prison.
she's definitely acting like a kid who gets a phone for the very first time or gets on social media for the very first time because she is literally on everything. You can't get on TikTok or Facebook without seeing, something from her. She's on Instagram.
Or
She's just
anyone
kind of,
talking about it.
yeah, and she's just everywhere. And, I do feel bad that she had to go through stuff like that, but I'm not on the Gypsy Rose train. I do not feel that sorry for her or feel like she, deserves all this attention. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't either because I agree with now Missouri's reasoning why they wanted to kick her out is because it's definitely a high profile case where it's kind of showing that nowadays if you're going through something bad, this is not how you act. It's not. Um, obviously me and Crystal argued about that before we started this, but we're not getting into that.
I'm not saying that, anybody who was abused deserves to be set free, but I don't know. When it comes to
I
her,
I think she deserves life. because she was an accomplice. Well, technically, but she also was the one planning. And no one's like, even cops are not realizing of how many times she changed her story. Like, I just don't get it. I don't.
She's not taking accountability. That is my biggest issue. She's not taking any accountability for what she did. And then she goes, "Oh, well, I did my time for my part, but I don't want to talk about that." Like she kind of just ignores what she's known for. I'm like, you're not just going to be famous just to be famous. Like everybody
No.
wants to know what was going on. And she's like, "No, I just want to live my life, but I still want you all to gawk at me." Like, no, that's not the way it works.
No, because the whole reason for these interviews is they want to know why, which she doesn't want to talk about, which is already suspicious enough about how she's acting towards it. No remorse, no accountability, none of it. She's just fame hungry. It's all she wants is she wants people to feel sorry for her.
I definitely feel like with Nick's new trial that's coming out and all this new information that's coming out, that this is definitely probably going to be talked about again. And maybe I'll have a different opinion. But I still stand by the fact that since his story has not changed once, they just want to change his sentencing. He's not ever saying, "Hey, I didn't do this." He does take responsibility for what he did, but she has not. She still just kind of goes, "Oh, well, it was my mother's fault. I was a victim, and we're just going to pretend that it didn't happen." But that's not the way it works.
No. So, with his case coming up, do you think that they're gonna try to do insanity?
I have not heard anything about that yet, but I kind of hope that they do. I do hope that I think he needs help. I do believe that. And he never would have done something like this if it wasn't for what he thought. He thought he was saving somebody. He thought he was saving somebody he loved.
Which is so sad. It's so sad and so like hard to hear, especially when you're so deeply in love with someone. I I can't imagine probably what is running through his head because even though he knows all these things, he still thinks that he's her Prince Charming.
Yeah, he still think that he still to this day thinks that he saved her. And I guess in a way maybe he did, but why is it that she gets to just walk around and, you know, basically be treated like a hero when it was her fault? Like he's not this monster that they're all putting him out to be, because the only reason why he did it was because he loved her.
So my question now for you, Crystal, is you're the one that deep dive and told me the actually deep things that not a lot of people talked about or knew. How how are you feeling?
I feel a lot of anger. I definitely feel a lot of anger because it's not fair. I mean, I can't imagine what she went through, and I would never pretend to, but I just I couldn't see me doing something like that. I couldn't see me getting pushed to that point where, because I mean, with my borderline, I rage, right? I snap, something snaps in my head, and but I feel horrible about it after. I try my hardest to not inflict, obviously a physical pain or something permanent. And I could not just walk around and just be like, "Oh, well, it wasn't my fault. So just feel sorry for me and, fall in love with me." That's basically how she's acting. And I couldn't put myself in that place. It hurt my head, it hurts my heart, and it just kind of makes me question my episodes in a lot of like in a
Yeah.
lot of ways.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that because I know that every time the doctors would ask me if I ever felt like I wanted to harm someone, my first instinct is obviously no, because I can't imagine hurting another human being. I can't because I have so much love, even sometimes for the wrong. I still have so much love. I I can't be ruthless to other people in a
Yeah, but we
way.
were we were never pushed to that point. So I mean, if something in me was to snap and I do cause that kind of harm, I couldn't see me acting the way that she is. That's why I don't think she has any remorse. I think she's enjoying the spotlight, and that angers me because I just don't understand how you can just act like it's okay.
When it obviously it's not. Because I think that she should be serving life sentence. I think that she should be living in prison for the
I
rest of her
think
life.
I think she just needs to literally sit and think about what she actually did forever.
Because she's in her 30s now. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly how she's acting. She's, I don't want, I mean, dang, am I saying it? She's kind of a pick me girl right
She
now.
really is. She's acting like a pick me girl, and it bothers me. I don't understand. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Because am I wrong for feeling this way? And I'm not jumping on the bandwagon because I have seen a lot of videos and I have seen a lot of people churn, but this is how I've always felt. And I mean, when you follow something for as long as I have, because again, I saw this back when her mom was still alive, when they were all over Facebook. I saw those posts. And then all of a sudden I see that, hey, this was all a lie. Like I followed her story forever. And it just bothers me because, in prison, there were some times where she acted like she felt bad. But then when your stories change, it's kind of hard to keep that emotion going.
It's hard to it's hard to catch up with your own lie when you keep going on and on and on about it.
Yeah,
Like
you
you
definitely can't.
like when it's kind of like a chain effect. Like when you start a lie and then you have to believe your own lie, but then you have to keep adding on and on and on, or you forgot what you said, and then when you say the wrong thing, then you have to add on to it and add on and on and on with it. Like
She
it's
just she keeps downplaying her part, and that's what's gonna bother me is because she's just acting like he's serving, he's doing his time for his part was her quote, and that she served her time for hers. But she kind of downplays it. She's like, "Oh, hey, I got out early because she did. She technically she wasn't even up for parole until 2024, and she was out last year. Yeah, it was just in December. It was just barely last year, but that was still she got out early."
and then everyone I think I read in the news that everyone was like kind of waiting out in front of the prison to see her release, and then they ended up like releasing her at like 3 o'clock in the morning with no one around.
Yeah, that's why Missouri also said changed their mind and said she had to go because a lot of her interviews while she was in prison still leading up to her release, like when she got a release date, she was talking about, doing all these things like going to the Chiefs game and how in love with Taylor Swift she was, like things like that, and it caused a lot of freakouts, and that was before she was released.
And that's why I think she's fame hungry. Because if you really wanted to be down, like low key with your life, like you wouldn't be doing all these things and you wouldn't be so happy about knowing what you did and knowing what you're like hiding. Because
Like
there's definitely a lot of things that she's just not wanting to speak out.
there's a lot of other cases that we might cover that, when people have been released and they do go into, basically hiding, they've changed their names. things like that. They do actually try to start a new life where she's like, well, I can play off the fact that I was a victim. And again, I'm not disputing the fact that she was a victim. She was, but she's playing it and she knows she is. She's still playing the same game that her and her mother played when her mom was alive.
I think we should end this episode with a question of the day for our viewers to get involved. Um, Honestly, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that she should be serving a life sentence? Do you guys think that Nick should get out the same time as her? Honestly, just put in your guys' thoughts. And we would love your opinion on what you guys think about how crazy we are.
Yeah. We're like I said, when Nick's trial gets more and more talked about, we probably will come back to this topic. But we kind of just glossed over it because she's just talked about too much. And I kind of just, in my head, I want to put an end to it. I'm kind of over her. I would definitely be okay with talking about Nick in the future, though. I will probably cover his trial the more information we get on that.
That would be fun to do. So let's wrap it up. We hope you enjoyed this episode, our actually very first true crime episode of our case we talked about, Gypsy Rose. That's the last time we're going to be saying her name. For you, Crystal, obviously.
Finally, I'm over it.
But honestly, your guys' opinions do matter, and we would love to hear it. And we will see you next week, Saturday morning.
For our lovely next podcast that I honestly don't know what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be a surprise for everybody.
It's gonna be a surprise. I honestly, we had two cases in mind, but the number one that is actually gonna be a very special series is gonna be a later on thing because that actually has a lot of research that me and her definitely both are gonna do because we disagree on it. And I don't want to talk about it yet because it's gonna be a very special surprise.
Just know I'm going to win.
Ah, I'm already winning. Okay, everyone at work is agreeing with my side, ma'am.
I'm going to get some interviews done.
So we're going there. We're gonna be interviewing now, huh? Huh? I already
All
have
right.
four people in mind.
All right, guys. Hope to you all stay safe out there. Make sure you definitely be careful who you talk to. And we'll see you guys all next week.
See you next week. Bye.